Please be advised that we are speaking in our own individual capacities and not representing any companies we may work for. We are not your lawyers, and any information given during this podcast does not constitute as legal advice and is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Enjoy the episode.
Hi guys, I'm Katie.
And I'm Nicole.
And welcome back to Girls Gone Legal. Hi everybody, welcome back to episode 4.
We are so excited for today's episode. We have a really, really interesting guest coming.
I know, it's so funny. We keep saying we're so excited, but I feel like it's just getting better and better. So we're so excited to get back into it. So today we're going to be interviewing Kayla Morán. She is, I can't even explain how refreshing it is to talk to someone who's a lawyer and was in law school and just has such a unique perspective on the legal industry.
Yeah.
So
we touch on so many points that are so informative and so interesting, and you're really going to want to tune in and listen to it. I mean, we touch upon burnout.
Yeah, we talk about dating in law school, the work-life balance, and then life balance, and everything that kind of goes into it. So I think this is a really cool episode. Stay tuned. We're so excited for you guys to hear it. Hi, everybody. Okay, so we are so excited. We have our second ever guest. We have Kayla here. So I'll give you guys a bit of a rundown on Kayla's bio. So Kayla Morán is a trademark and contracts attorney for creators and entrepreneurs. She attended the University of Central Florida, where she was a Kappa Delta, participated in Nightthorn for 4 years, and interned at Senator Rubio's. Before she set off for law school. In 2022, she earned her JD from the University of Tennessee College Law, where she was a member of multiple different clinics and is now a member of the Florida Bar. She returned to Miami, where she was a personal injury attorney for a year before opening her own firm.
When she set out to become a lawyer, her goal was to be in-house counsel for a lifestyle company, but during law school, she discovered she could combine her interests and create a career on her own terms. She blogged her law school experience, and it was through blogging she discovered being an influencer, combining her passion for social media and legal training. Now as a lawyer, she gets to help influencers promote and protect the brands that they have built. At the forefront of the legal industry, Kayla Morán stands out as a pioneering young CEO and the visionary founder of her creator economy law firm, Kayla Morán Law. Specializing in trademarks and contracts for influencers and entrepreneurs, her goal is to help fellow creative and digital entrepreneurs build, scale, and protect their brands. She also hosts her popular podcast, the Let's Get Candid podcast, where she explores the intersections of law, business, and mental health. Welcome, Kayla. How are you today?
Thank you guys for having me. I'm so excited. I'm good. How are you guys?
We are good. We are so excited to have you.
I know. We were just talking about how great it is to have a fellow, more veteran podcaster than we are on for today. As you can, I'm sure, already see and will see, we'll have some bumps in the road, but I mean, we're super excited. Honestly, right away, can you give us a little bit of your rundown? I'm sure some of our viewers would be interested in what your podcast is like.
So Let's Get Candid started, I was a 3L, and I was just realizing I probably wasn't going to get a job the old fashioned way, like OCIs and through big law firms. And I didn't want that either. And we can get more into that. But I was doing a lot of networking on LinkedIn, and I was having really cool conversations with people. And I was like, I'm the type of person, I have the balls to cold email or cold DM someone and be like, hey, can I have a meeting? But the average person might not feel comfortable doing that. Or, I'm having conversations with people on Zoom because it was 2021. But, the average person thinks that they have to, it's not an effective meeting if it's not in person getting coffee. And I just had this idea of, if I'm going to have these conversations, why not start sharing them? And I had a lot of cool people in my life doing cool things. And I had social media friends, and people had built really big followings on social media. And I wanted to share that because I knew that was kind of the trajectory that the world was going in. Mm-hmm. And so the name came from actually one of my best friends in law school, love him to death. I called him one day and I was like, or I think I told him in person, I was like, I have this really crazy idea. What if I started a podcast? And he was like, no, I actually think that would be something you would be really, really good at. And I was like, okay, but I don't have a name. How do I do this? And the bar is in 9 months. What am I going to do when that? I started spiraling, and he said, what about something with Candid? Let's Get Candid. And I was like, how did you come up with that? So easy. literally like not sleeping for days because I knew that I had wanted to do it. I had talked to my parents. I had come up with the plan. I had figured out how I was going to deal with the bar when it came. Like I had it all figured out, but I couldn't figure out the name. And I was like, you can't start a podcast without a name.
Yeah.
And he just one day, I woke up in the middle of the night and I was like, I want it to feel like easygoing. I want like it to feel like you're on a FaceTime call with me or like we're at coffee or happy hour. Like I want you to feel like we're friends and like it's genuine. And so like Candid is like what encapsulates that. But like I couldn't figure out, like I'm not a rhymer. I'm not like good at like being witty. So I couldn't figure it out. And he said, I literally like I texted him at 8 a.m. when I got to school and I was like, where are you? I need to talk to you. And he was like, I'm in the library. I looked up from texting him. I got off the landing and he was like right in front of me. And I was like, okay, like what? Like, he's like, what? And I was like, what do I call it? Like, he was like something with Candid, like, let's get Candid. And I was like, okay, we got it. Like, we're good.
Done. Perfect.
So, that was a Tuesday. Thursday, we would have Rum Court, which is like our bar review. And, instead of like getting like ready, what I did was I recorded the intro and I just didn't tell anybody. I just published the trailer for it. I created like a Canva little like thing and I put the trailer online. And I don't think anybody found out that night, but surely like soon enough, like it's people started figuring it out. And yeah, that's how the podcast came to be. But the whole thing is it's still getting candid, having the conversations that people are too afraid to have or don't know how to have. Like couple weeks ago we talked about endometriosis and like bad periods and out of like infertility and what that could lead to and becoming more feminine and leaning into your feminine energy after being really masculine for a long time, which is something that I've been going through lately. Or you know, a lot of social media, a lot of business, some legal, some medical. I know a bunch of people doing cool things. A lot of them are from social media, and so I thought, why not share these conversations that I get to have?
That's amazing.
Yeah, I think that's amazing
that's
too.
So similar to kind of how we started this, just kind of realizing there's so much we want to learn and we wanted, a lot, for me at least, I wish I knew in law school, and there wasn't really a platform that I felt like was talking about it enough and talking about the real nitty gritties of what being a new lawyer or an aspiring lawyer is like. So we wanted... We like, you know, there's nowhere right now where that talks about it. Why don't we talk about it? Let's see kind of where it's at.
100%.
I remember sitting at my desk. I was studying for the bar. It was like mid-July. And I just get a text from Katie. And Katie's like, should we start a podcast? And like, when you tell me like we're going to do something, I'm like, done. Let's do it. So like within like 2 days, we had like an Instagram already up. And mind you, we didn't get everything going until like after I'd taken the bar because I was like only 2 weeks out until the bar time. But yeah, like it was.
It's funny. It's funny to see the similarities in the story. I'm like, we were the same thing. We're like, we got to do it.
I remember like thinking of names.
The reason you guys started is why I started the blog to begin with back in college and like my 1L year was, which was 2 years before that, is because I was like, okay, I know I like beauty and fashion. Like everyone's saying, like I have to like lose who I am. Like I have to fit this mold to be a lawyer and like law school and like. You know, you can't have a life, you can't do this, you can't do that. And I was like, there has to be a better way. Like someone has to be talking about how like they can do both. And like you're to your point, nobody was doing it. It's like, okay, I'm gonna do that because I may not have it, but like hopefully someone like me later can find it. And sure enough, a couple years later, I don't know if it was a 2L or a 3L, but a 1L came up to me. I had never met this girl. We were at a bar and she was like, hey, are you Kayla Morán? And I was like, yeah. She's like, I found your vlog. And I was like, oh no, like, please don't read anything. Like, I'm gonna go now. But like, nice to meet you. If you need anything, like, message me. She's like, no, I love it. Like, you helped me pick Tennessee. And I was like, because I went here? She's like, no, because the same formula you used to pick your school led me to the same school. And I was like, that's why I did it. Yeah, like, 100%. It's to help people figure out their place in this world. Because you're right, nobody does talk about things and like dating in law school or like what to wear or, you know, Mean Girls. Like I would cry on my podcast when like things were going on. Like people would know that like I was going through a bad time because it was happening in real time. And like I don't quite share as much as I used to, but like there are times where I'll share retroactively like later what was really going on.
Yeah. Yeah, no, 100%. And honestly, like, I think that leads us great into the whole idea of today's podcast, and something, one of the real ways me and Nicole bonded was us realizing, I mean, you said it perfectly, realizing there's a different way to do it. You don't have to fit that exact structure. And with both of us and our lifestyles and our life before law school, we didn't want to lose that. We didn't want to change who we were. And at the end of the day, it was that we want to still kind of do it all and be the person we were prior to being in the crazy mess of the legal world. So no, you 100%. I think we were in very similar. I'm currently in very similar shoes than you were at least in at some point. So
yeah.
Are you a 3L or what year are you?
I'm a 2L.
Okay, so I'm
a 2L. Yeah, I still have some time. I think going into it was a lot of, which Nicole was actually my mentor when I got to New York Law School. We have a great like mentor-mentee program through one of our organizations, but I confided in her a lot, just basically saying I have this life that's a little bit special, a little bit crazy. I'm flying left, right, and center to go film something or do this and that. Can I do this still, or am I gonna have to give this all up? And she looked at me and said, no, you are totally fine. Like, I do that and I've made it through. I'm where I am. Yeah. Like, don't change it. You might have to change the ways you do it. Like, there might be a little more organization, or like some things might have to give, but you don't have to change who you are. And I think that definitely helped me get through 1L.
It was huge.
I love that you guys are like more mentor mentee that turned into friends, because one of my best friends, my female best friend from law school, Yasmin, she was my mentor. She was a 3L, I was a 1L. And when she graduated, thankfully she was only going 2 hours away. But we made a point to, have like a weekend once a year where we make a point to see each other. So it became a tradition of like once a year we'll meet up somewhere. Either I go visit her, we pick a neutral location, we both explore a new city. Now she's moving back to Florida. She's originally from Florida. And I'm happy she's moving back. She'll be much closer to me than Tennessee. But those are the best friendships, because like law school, I was telling someone earlier today, she wants to go to law school. We got coffee. I was like, law school is high school with more expensive books, and there's a lot of drama, but you also will meet your best friends. There's not going to be a lot of them, but like one or two people that truly are forged through the fire. And like for me, it's Yasmin and Brady. They have both seen me from every high, every low that could possibly be there. Like Brady talked me off a ledge more times than I can count. And he still continues to do that to this day. And she's my immediate like person that I go to when something's happening.
But to go off of that, there's so much drama in law school. Like, I was in shock when I first got to law school. I'm like, why is there so much drama? Like, I thought everyone was gonna like sit and study, and there's just so much drama, whether it's like personal, like
competitive,
like
I feel like they don't, you never I wasn't prepared for it. I came in being like, it's gonna be great, and then you get there and it's like, what is going
so
on?
Much drama. But I also made like my really close friends.
I could go on and on and on about the stories. I was talking to my friend earlier today about them. Actually, like I can tell you guys offline, like some of the shit that goes on. It's truly high school with more expensive books, like Mean Girls That Never Grew Up. Or I think a lot of it, what happens is that prior to law school, you have been the absolute best at everything, and everybody has always blown smoke up your ass. Like, you're amazing, you're doing so well, you're captain of your soccer team, you're head cheerleader, you're number one in your class, you've never gotten a B before, like everybody's amazing. But then when you put everybody who's like type A number one together, someone inevitably has to be number two. They don't know how to deal with it.
It's a hard pill to swallow for a lot.
It's literally just a recipe for disaster, and then nobody's equipped to handle it. And it's super insular, because unless you've experienced that, no one can relate. And like, I see it all the time. Like, there's a Facebook group, Ladies in Law. You guys might be in it or know of it. And it's global, but every day someone's posting like, I got broken up with. How do you handle this? It's like, girl, you're not the first or the last person to get broken up with in law school. Also, I always snarkily, I'm like, was it just a situationship or like a guy that rejected you?
You never know nowadays.
We all know what those are like, and they're 10 times worse. But like, it's not the end of the world. And like, they treat like every inconvenience or bad thing that happens as the end of the world. Like, how am I ever gonna recover? I gotta be. It's like, dude, relax. Like, you're fine. I promise.
And it's gonna get worse. Sorry, there's worse things that are gonna happen.
It literally gets so much worse. And if you can't handle it now, how are you gonna get on the stand and defend your client at the worst point in their life. Even if you're having the worst day of your life, it's not about you. It's about them.
Yeah.
So learn to temper your expectations and learn to handle your emotions. And like, it's harsh. It's hard to hear that, but you have to. And, you know, we've all been through, like, there was a lot of things that went wrong while I was in law school on a personal level, emotionally. And like, I probably would have done a lot better had those things not happened, but you know, it had to happen, and life doesn't stop because you went to law school or you became a lawyer. You have to learn to handle it, which I think we're going to talk more about in this episode. But like, yeah, it's a pressure cooker for sure.
Yeah,
definitely. You have to control your emotions. You have to really get like strong-minded.
Not everyone's built for it, realistically.
No, but it's definitely something like you can like push through if this is really like what you want. If you want to be a lawyer and you want to get through law school.
Yeah.
But it's definitely, like you said, I really love that. Life keeps going. Things keep going. The world keeps turning, and you have to keep pushing through.
Yeah.
And you're going to come across social things, personal things, school things, and you have to like learn, how am I going to handle all of this at once?
What would you like? I mean, we could talk about right now, but when you were in law school, what were kind of the things you did to help manage that, like overarching, like, oh my God, there's so much going on, or like, I feel like I'm so overwhelmed? Were there specific tactics that like you always turn to?
I think that was law school is really where I figured out what those things were. I didn't know how to study. I didn't have a workout routine. I was one of those kids who I wasn't number one in my class, but I was able to coast by and do well. So I never had to try so hard. And I realized very early on that I couldn't keep doing that. I had to, get my shit in gear. And I really struggled with that because I am not someone who, like, I was a dancer my entire life, and I was taught really valuable life skills as a dancer that are very applicable, but I had kind of gotten comfortable and lazy just being able to do just enough. And it was a really rude awakening, fall 1L grades, coming back and realizing okay, like this isn't going to go as easy as, it's not going to be as easy as college. And COVID happened my 1L year. So that really allowed me to kind of figure it out. Like, it gave me an extra few months to really reevaluate my life. Is this the right choice? Do I really want to go to law school? Is this really for me? Which unfortunately not everyone has that ability. I was 22 and I realized, okay, like, I'm probably not going to get a big law job. I'm not going to do OCIs. So let me get really real on what are my options and what am I looking for? And I think once I figured out that, and it took a year to really own in on that. Once I figured that out, it was really a lot more manageable to figure out the tools that would help me. And what helped was journaling. And I'm still not great about it every single day, but being intentional about prayer and gratitude, like at night, at least, like, I'm someone that I was never super affectionate. Like, I wasn't given that as a child. I crave it. And I would go up to Brady and I would be like, hey, can I get a hug? He's like, I'm not a hugger. Like, I'm like, no, just hold me. And he's like, dude, no. And so like, I learned to every night before bed, give myself a hug and say like, I'm proud of you. You made it through today. Or blogging and sharing my life on the internet, building a community outside of law school and having people to go to outside that weren't just in these four walls and that had other experiences as me. And I could get out of my own head, working out, podcasts, going for walks. Like, that was, again, COVID was happening at the time. So I was home, or right when we returned back to school, but we were hybrid. So I was home a lot more. It was more remote. And I had the ability to, in the middle of the day, when it's a really nice day out, actually go outside and enjoy it. And I had never lived where there was seasons before, really, truly. So it was nice to experience that. And so I spent a lot of time outside. I would drink coffee on like the patio at my school and get sun on my face. And just time management too. Like, I really learned to prioritize the things that were important to me and the things that were going to get me to where I wanted to go, the opportunities, the jobs, the internships, the clinics, etc. And kind of, if it wasn't going to, I had like a measuring stick. I was like, if it's not going to get me closer to my goal or give me skills to get closer to my goal, even if I don't really like it, but it's valuable. Like I needed to figure out how was I going to measure whether it was worth the effort, the energy, the investment, and my time, because I have to give up something else ultimately in order to do it. And I think that's still what I do today. You know, I have to. One of the guy I'm speaking to right now, he asked me a couple weeks ago, like, do you think the podcast is really benefiting you? Like, is it like, because you've said like you don't really make money off of it, but like, has it helped you in your business? Is it generating business for you? Like, what's the ROI here? And I was like, something I've really struggled with. Like, monetarily, it's a money pit financially, but I wouldn't have the opportunities, the network that I have. You know, I get to meet a lot of cool people. I've learned a lot. I've grown a lot just by having these conversations. So it has helped me in my business, just not in a tangible way.
Right.
And so that's why I continue doing it. The emotional value of it, the personal development value of it, which to me is arguably more important, but it is a time suck. It is a money suck. So at sometimes I do have to value, like, you know, pick one. And so I went on a hiatus for a couple of months because I was burned out. And like, it was like the easiest thing to take off my plate that would give me my time back. And I restarted it now. And I don't know if I'll continue after this calendar year, but I'm not going to completely go away with it because there is a lot of value there. And like, maybe I'll just do once a month episodes. I don't know. I don't know what that's going to look like, but I think when it comes to burnout, just being really, really honest with yourself, which is scary. That's the hardest thing. Nobody wants to be honest with themselves. And reframing that mindset in my, like throughout law school really helped me in my career, but also just in life in general.
Yeah, no, I think that's amazing. And I know for me, like, I'm always running around and I'm like, oh, I'm so tired. I'm doing a million things at once. And sometimes you need to give and take and you need to understand, okay, I need to slow down for a second. Time is valuable, especially in law school, especially in this industry, out of law school too. And it's like, realize when you're burning out. So I guess like the next question for you is, when did you know that you were burning out? When did you sit down and be like, I need to be honest with myself? When am I going to take that step to try and help myself and change the way I'm doing things?
For me, it's my body physically gives out. And I think that's common for most people, especially women, because our cycles, but not everybody's like that. I would either get sick a lot more frequently or fatigue, just I couldn't get out of bed. And I've always been someone who struggles with depression and anxiety. So, but like, I knew that this wasn't that. Like, I was like, okay, I felt that before. Like, this feels different. And it was just emotional exhaustion and energy. And I just was like, something has to give. And like, Brady really encouraged me to go to therapy again. And I started unpacking a lot of the traumas and the things that had happened in college and prior to that I hadn't worked through that were contributing. But truly what was the sign was my health started failing. I've always been anemic. I have always had really bad periods. But I had autoimmune issues. I had like stomach issues. Like I couldn't go to the bathroom. Everything I ate was making me sick. I never felt good. And I went to the doctor and I was like, what is going on? What can I do? And they asked me completely honestly, like, are you sexually active right now? Like, do you need to be on birth control? Because you've been on it for a long time. Your body needs to detox. Like, you need to give it a break. And like, if you can't do it with school, you need to do it in other ways. Your body's under a lot of stress and like, it needs to recover. And I was like, no, I'm not sexually active right now. That was a choice I had made personally in law school. Like, don't get me wrong, there was boys and like drama. But I side note, very different. The only the boy that everybody knew was like a man whore sleeping around, like everybody wanted, but like never to go to. Nobody understood how I kept him around. I had him wrapped around my pinky finger. Because I never gave him what he wanted. So I went off birth control and it took a few months obviously to deregulate my system, but my emotions came back. Like I had realized I was just numb. I was so emotionally burned out and physically burned out And I've never been the all-nighter person, but like I just couldn't handle it anymore. I was exhausted, and I never gained or lost weight. There wasn't physical changes in that sense, but like I just didn't like, I felt heavy. I didn't like how I felt. I wasn't comfortable in my own skin. I was hiding it. There's like drama factors involved there too, but like I realized something was seriously wrong. So I got off birth control, and I got off birth control like end of spring semester, and by fall, actually no, I had made the decision in the spring. I got off of it like right before school started in August. So by December, by the following year, I was like, okay, like I feel better now. And that was my 3L year. So 3L year, I felt a lot more myself, finally. And also, I think being really conscious of the people you surround yourself with, the drama, the friends that weren't good for me, the trying too hard to be something to somebody, to people that didn't care, or trying really hard to fit a certain mold. I just stopped caring. And Brady's, I vividly remember, it was like the second day after 2L spring. We had gone home, like the semester was over. I was back in Miami. It was 2:00 in the morning. I was sitting on my couch, and I will never forget. He is the type of person that he's not a phone call person. You text him 500 times, he'll answer you when he answers you, and that's the best you're gonna get. But I don't know what I said, but I must have scared the living shit out of him. And he called me at 2:00 in the morning. And so I'm on my couch, and I'm bawling my ass out, and I'm talking to him. And he had said it before, but this time it really stuck. He said, fuck them. Fuck them. People are so hellbent on misunderstanding you because they don't want to. Like, they just don't like you because they don't want to understand you. And you can't make understand you. Why do you care so much? Why are you trying so hard to please everybody? Why are you trying so hard to be friends with people who do not want to be your friend? They do not care. And I just, for some reason, it hit me. I was like, you know what? You're so right. Like, these people have time and again shown me that they don't really care. They'll say one thing, and 2 weeks later, they change their tune again. And I'm the only one getting hurt here is me. And sure enough, have those people tried again? Yeah, they have. And I keep them at arm's length. Happy birthday, Merry Christmas, congratulations, happy anniversary, congrats on the baby. That's it. Yeah. Like, I'm not emotionally investing anymore. Like, I've tried too hard too many times, and it was only hurting me. Yeah. And I think the emotional burnout for me was the health stuff, like the people you surround yourself with, like you are the sum of the 5 people you surround yourself with. Like, that is so true. But it's not just professionally, it bleeds into everything.
Wait, to go off of that, what do you think of a lawyer-lawyer relationship?
Yeah, side comment.
When you're dating, or when in law school, like, with lawyers in general, like, the only people who understand law school is people who have gone to law school. And so yeah, you get really close really fast in proximity, and everybody starts dating each other, and everybody starts, because it's like, you're the only person who understands me, like, you get it. And so that happens a lot. And I think for some people it can be really, really great. For others, it's not so great, because the competitiveness and the one-upping, and like, I think at the end of the day, similar to jobs, similar to mentors, similar to friends, what are your goals? Do they align? Like, if you guys fundamentally don't see things the same way, it's going to be really hard to be in a relationship, whether it's a friendship or not, or more. And so dating lawyers, it can be done. I have done it. Would I do it again? I don't know. I'm not currently doing it. I think it's a lifestyle choice too. Like, being a lawyer is not just a job. It's a lifestyle.
For sure.
And do your lifestyles align? Do you guys want the same things? Do you both want a family? Where do you want to live? Like, how much money are you putting away versus spending? Like, fundamentally, those are things that you have to have a conversation about. Yeah, you're not having those in law school.
Yeah.
You should. In any relationship, you need to have those conversations at some point, but like, law school makes it a lot harder. Like, don't rush either.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think it's important to I don't know if you could agree with this, like, have stuff in common if you are going for another lawyer outside of law, I think that's like huge.
Even friends, like, putting the romantic aside, like, any relationship in your life at this point in our lives, I feel like you're right, having similarities that isn't just school is so important, because then when you take away school, it's like, well, like, what do we talk about? Like, like, even the friends where it's like, well, do we even have anything in common when we don't talk about school? We don't talk about law or
yourselves,
work, like,
or your relationship. Like, if all you guys talk about is each other or other people's drama, that's not a relationship, and that's not healthy. And absolutely. Like, for example, like, again, the guy that I'm talking to now, like, we don't talk work because he can't tell me what he does based off of the nature of what he does. And because he can't tell me, he doesn't really ask me what I do. He knows I'm a lawyer. He's seen my website, and he's like, cool. Like, as long as you're happy. Like, we joked the other day, he's like, I don't know how you spent all day long reading contracts. I'd be so, like, my brain would hurt. And I'm like, my brain does hurt. But I love it. And he's like, yeah, I love what I do too. And it's like, if you are genuinely happy and passionate about what you do, you don't have to talk about it all the time. You don't have to talk about work. If all you're talking about is work, that's a problem. Like, I always say this, Yasmin and I remember we were in Dallas on a girls trip at the beginning of 2023. And we were getting into bed and we were like, just like talking about random. And I remember something that we both like agreed on. And I think we had talked about it before, but it had just like that one time lives rent free in my head. We both were like getting into bed. She was literally the girl in the relationship, and I was the guy. She was putting on lotion and like putting on her socks, and I'm like getting in bed. And I'm like, I could never be a stay-at-home mom, because if I get into bed and I'm like, hey honey, how was your day? And he tells me about all the business meetings and all the deals and like CEO crunching numbers, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, I changed a shitty diaper. Like that, at what point is there a connection there? He cannot contribute to that conversation. He has nothing to say. He was not there. Even if let's say he's the most helpful father and he does clean diapers. He wasn't there. He doesn't know. There's nothing for him to add to the conversation about your day, because all you did was clean the house and take care of the kids. That's a job. There's nothing wrong with it. That's not my MO. And so Yasmin said the same thing. She's like, I need intellectual stimulation. Like, I need to like have something to talk about. And I'm the same way. Like, I don't want to talk about my day and it be like really like just like play by play of my day. Like, today I did this. It's like, I don't need to tell you about my day. I don't need to tell you every moment of my day. But I want us to have something to talk about beyond us and other people or our children. And that's something my parents, my mom and I had this conversation a couple of weeks ago. Like, she's like, I made the biggest mistake as a woman is that when we started having you guys, like all of my focus, our partnership became focused on raising you, and we lost our romantic relationship. So the reason you never saw that is because it's not that it wasn't there, but it wasn't the focus. And now that you guys are older and we're able, you know, you're grown and you raise you do everything for yourselves, really, like we're able to go back to that and like that foundation. And that is super important, like having that foundation, those things to talk about. And I think that's the hardest part about dating someone who does exactly what you do, is that it becomes a competition. You're comparing what you guys do, the deals you're closing, and I'll say like, you're not saying numbers, you're not saying like people's names and things like that. Like, I'm not, he doesn't ask me about what I do because I can't tell him like super in depth. Like, I can say like generally what I do, but like it's so out of his wheelhouse that like we could talk about other things. Like, why waste the time?
100%.
And you know, so I think if like someone is a lawyer and doesn't have like a personality outside of work, and a lot of lawyers don't, like that's why it's really hard for me to date someone that's a lawyer, because if they're a traditional type, then we're probably not going to be on the same page.
Right.
Have I done it before? Yes. It was good. Like but like what it was is that we had fun together, but like there was no depth to it, you know?
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, honestly, so you're very similar to us. We've talked about this. Like, we always have a lot going on, like the whole side of it. Specifically with, I'm super interested in like your content creation side and like that stuff you tap into as well. Is it something, first of all, you expected to do like when you went into law school, or it just kind of came as it went on?
So it's funny because it's like, all of this was an accident. None of this is planned.
That's how the best things happen.
I was gonna say best things in life are.
Yeah. 100%. Like, the more you try, and like going back to what Brady said, like you're trying so hard. Like,
maybe try a little less. And I was like, I don't know how to try any less, because if I don't try, then I feel like I'm not doing anything. He's like, then don't do anything and let it happen to you. Like, and I've had several people, primarily guys, because they're a lot more laid back and they're more chill about it. Like my guy friends and like partners and stuff have told me that. It's like, why are you trying so hard? Like, let it come to you. If it's meant to be, it'll be. And I would say that to myself all the time. If it's meant to be, it'll be. If it's meant to be, it'll be. But like, I wasn't really like allowing it to happen. I'm very like going like to Gossip Girl, like Blair Waldorf in that sense. Like she always fucked it up for herself because she tried too hard and she ended up manipulating it, and it went the opposite effect. And versus Serena, like you were like, how does this girl always have everything handed to her? Like she is a mess. And it's like, because her energy, she attracts it. She's open, she's likable because she's a little bit of a mess, and like people kind of like their, like it's endearing in a way. So that's like something that I've tried to adopt more in this era of my life, is being a lot more aloof and like the art of under analyzing, because I'm an overthinker. But to answer your question, like I got to law school and I was like, okay, I'm going to do commercial real estate. And that was initially the plan. And I was blogging for fun. It was a hobby. It was a way to have a life outside of law school and like have a community that wasn't my classmates. And I started getting a couple opportunities to work with brands. And like, again, this was COVID time. So like I was sharing my life on the internet, like get ready with me to go to class, or like make my coffee with me or whatever, like stupid. And brands started wanting to send me products or PR and gift me stuff and like whatever. And I was like, oh, like I can make some side money on doing this. This is cool. And I started realizing like, oh, but like there's like actual contracts involved, like lawyers like can be a part of this. So like that's how that whole thing started. But I never set out to be just an influencer. Even when I went to going into law school, I never wanted to be just a lawyer. I've never wanted to be just one thing. I've always wanted to be multi-hyphenate, and I'm multi-passionate and have a lot of different things that I'm doing. I never wanted to be just a wife and a mom. I never wanted to be just whatever.
Honestly, I mean, you talked a little bit about it, but what would you say like your overall main vision for your law firm is? Like your 5 years, this is what a dream would be.
So it's not just for my law firm, and that's something that is, I think I do a little differently than a lot of people in my space, is that they only care about their business. Whereas again, I'm multi-hyphenate, I'm multi-passionate. My business is a part of me, but it is not all of me. The same way a relationship, like I always say, I am 100% whole. I'm a whole damn person. I don't need anybody to complete me. Whether it's a business, whether it's a man, whether it's a child, nothing completes me. I'm already whole. And so like I have beef with people. They're like, my other half, or like my better half. I'm like, you're not a half, you're a whole. But it applies here. It's like my vision for my business impacts my life. And so I view it holistically, and I always have, from 23 in law school, after having that conversation with Brady. Again, don't know what changed, but in the middle of my health crap and like that, like all of it, and therapy and unpacking a lot of stuff and healing, I got really clear on what do I want my life to look and feel like in 10 years. I want to be a wife and a mom. I want to be involved in my community. I'm not going to be PTA mom of the year. I'm not going to be at the school every day, but I want to go to my kid's soccer game and not be on my computer or my phone. I want to be present. I want to help them with homework if I can. Like I want to be present, but I still want to serve my clients. I still want to be a valuable member of my community and my friends. And I want to travel, and I want to have travel with my friends and travel with my partner, travel with my family. And I want to do all these things. I want to own real estate. I want to invest in businesses. Like there's so many things I want to do. That being a business is such a small portion of it. It's just the vehicle right now that is going to allow me to get all these things. It's the stepping. Do I ever see it going away? I don't. I genuinely don't know the answer to that. I think I may slow it down, unwind it a little bit when I go to have children, and then pick it back up when they're in school. Or, you know, maybe I start another business that is more time intensive and physically intensive, and I have to do that. Like, I don't know. To be honest with you, I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, you're a great example of one of the like thousands of different routes you can take. And I think, I'm sure you're a testament to this, but like you said, you changed your mind halfway. Like, you originally thought politics, then you went another way. Like, I think that's another thing to understand is, like, you're gonna think you know what you want, and then it's gonna shift, and like I think it's gonna keep shifting, and that's kind of a part of it.
You know, I see it a lot with the way that I hear my friends talk about other people that they know, and it's like, if you like, you have to have a plan B and a plan A, a plan C and stuff like that. There is people that will tell you like there is no plan B, because if you have a plan B, then you're expecting plan A to fail. To some extent, I get that, but like, be adaptable.
Yeah. Life's gonna change, and you have to be ready for it.
You gotta change with it or adapt to it.
Okay, so my dad's a Marine, and a quote that he has always told us, and this is what they get drilled in their heads, is improvise, adapt, and overcome. Those are the 3 best qualities that a Marine has. They're first in, last out, and they have to be quick on their feet and able to adapt and like change things up. And, you know, that didn't work. Okay, we're going to this. Like, it's okay to not have like a full out thought plan B or C, and that's fine. But be teachable, be coachable, be adaptable, be willing to try something different, be willing to learn. That's a mistake that I made very early on. I was so dead set on, I'm not going to affirm, I'm not doing it. Like, don't spit up. Because looking back, like, I wish I did.
Yeah.
I still could if I really wanted to.
Yeah.
Lifestyle wise, I don't.
Yeah.
Especially like personal life things that are happening. But, you know, that's the thing. Like, also, like, as someone who works remotely and can work from anywhere, like, my lifestyle, my dating, like, that looks different for me. Like, it wouldn't make sense for me now to go back.
Yeah.
But that's, you got to think about, like, if you know you want to have a family, like, when does that fit in?
Yeah, for sure.
You know, those are all things to consider.
Yeah, totally fair.
Well, Kayla, thank you so much for joining our episode today.
I know, I feel like this is such we hit on so many important things that are just not talked about nearly enough in this industry. So this is so valuable.
Yeah, this was really helpful, even for us.
I know, I'm like, wow, I forget that I'm podcasting. I'm like, keep going. I'm like, what? I was like, really?
For like 5 hours, like, honestly. It's really been amazing.
Thank you so much.
Points. Yeah,
we're going to make sure we link all of Kayla's stuff in the description, so you'll go see it all. I'm sure, like, I'm definitely gonna be tuning in. Like, I'm gonna be like, you're gonna see me liking. I'm gonna be the crazy. I'm gonna be liking all the old things. I'm gonna be going for a deep dive stalking. Like, I'm so intrigued by you.
I'm an open book. If anyone has any questions for me or wants to consult with me, you can check out my website, DM me, Instagram, TikTok, all the things. And I share a lot of my thoughts and stuff on TikTok. And I have my podcast too, but like legal related for most part. It's really on TikTok. And I've been sharing a lot of like my non-traditional journey in the legal industry lately on there, and like casual things I did in pre-law, before law school. There is no one way, like you said, there's 1,000 routes you could take, and law schools don't talk about that. So that's why we talk about it. And I'm happy to chat with anybody. And even you guys, like if you guys want to offline and you have questions for me, like mentorship and networking are 2 of the most important things. They go hand in hand with personal branding, and I genuinely enjoy it. Like, if I could, I mean, people do make money doing that. Like, if I can get paid to just do that, I just totally. It is exhausting, but it's genuinely fulfilling at the same time. So yeah, I'm happy to chat with anybody. Thank you guys so much for having me, and come chat with me.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Thank you so much.
Thank
We
you.
really appreciate it. This was so wonderful.
I think that was such a great episode. It's such a breath of fresh air talking to someone like Kayla. So make sure follow all of her social medias and her podcast. We'll link everything down below.
She's amazing.
Other than that, I guess we'll see you guys next Monday.
And don't forget to follow our socials, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, all of them, to stay updated on the latest things that are going on with Girls Gone Legal. And in the meantime, stay stylish, stay sharp, and
stay legal.
Bye
guys.